Hello and welcome to the O'Neill Report. Today we are in Niobrara, Nebraska with Senator Barry DeKay, and Barry is the senator for the 40th District of Nebraska. And last year you were the head of the committee of the STARWARS project. Is that right?
I was a member of that committee. STARWARS started before I was in the legislature. The actual chairman of the STARWARS committee was the speaker, John Arch, but basically I kind of took the lead on it the last year and a half since it's in my district, and he gave me the reins to run with it.
Okay, so we're going to update the Lewis and Clark Marina Expansion Project, but first I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Scott O'Neill, and my wife Kay and I own and operate Shore Realty in Yankton, South Dakota. We are located at 231 Broadway in Yankton, just next door to Muddy Mo's Coffee House. We've got an interactive window right outside our door that you can go and look up any listing on the MLS in Yankton or the surrounding area. And we work with buyers and sellers in Northeast Nebraska and Southeast South Dakota. We would encourage you, if you like, to subscribe, share, and comment on our videos. We feel it's important to do videos like this to gain knowledge about the areas we serve, and also to bring knowledge to our viewers, because we are all about sharing information. And that's why we're here with Barry, because he knows what's going on in the legislature. And before we get going, I just want to thank you for doing these videos. When I was working with your office to see what was going on with the STARWARS project, they always called me back, when they said they would, and you returned my email. So I want to thank you for that. So 2 years ago, if we could just go over shortly the history of STARWARS, right, so like people understand what we're talking about. We're not talking about the movie with Luke Skywalker. No. So, but just one comment, maybe the next time you make up an acronym, I'd be available to help you with an acronym that would mean more like thinking about a lake than a movie, or something like that.
I will say this: I don't know the complete every word in the acronym, but that acronym was put together by at that time Senator Hilgers and Senator Flood. And Senator Hilgers, the acronym came together because of the wording they were using, but he was a huge Star Wars fan. So another part of the project that isn't going to be completed at this time was actually called the Jedi Project. So,
so 2 years ago, October 11th, 2023, we met right here, and we talked about STARWARS. One of the projects was on the Platte River between Lincoln and Omaha,
right,
the 4,000-acre lake, right?
Right.
And can you go through a little bit of what was all in that one package, what the STARWARS package represented at the beginning?
At the beginning, it was going to be about $200 million for the combined STARWARS project. And actually, the project you was just talking about between Lincoln and Omaha was to build a man-made lake build residential housing and around it, and that was actually the Jedi program. The Jedi program a year or 2 years ago, that money was pulled because of lack of funds and appropriations to do what we needed to have a balanced budget. So that money got pulled. There was still basically about $120 million available for the actual STARWARS project, which included Lake McConaughey, and a lot of that money did get pulled. McConaughey I don't know the extent of where we are with that for sure for right now. They were allocated $17.5 million. That money is now on hold. Originally, that was going to be $55 million to build a floating marina, and some road frontage, and some low-level docks. And they were allocated $17 million to do the reconstruction of roads and low-level docks, and right now that money's on hold. And the original part with the floating marina was never going to be economically feasible. Where they were going to schedule to put that marina, with that level of the lake could fluctuate by 70 feet, so it was never going to be an economically feasible project. And that's what the selling point was for the Lewis and Clark Weigand Marina, is that was the only project out of the whole STARWARS project that showed a positive impact and a positive payback, and it was economically feasible. So that's why we were allocated $37.5 million to reconstruct a marina and different boat slips and docks and stuff. So that's where we're at with that project.
So the only two projects that are still alive, you might say, I don't know if alive is the right term, from STARWARS, is the Lewis and Clark Marina project and the project with Lake McConaughey. Is that right?
Right. And right now Lake McConaughey is on hold. There hasn't been any work done out at McConaughey. Weigand Marina, we are ready to go into phase 3 of that. They have pulled the existing docks, did some dirt work, removed what trees they needed to, and reconstructed the area for the parking lots, the boat docks, the marina, and the ramps. So we are in phase 3 of that project. So that's
okay. So I didn't know for sure if the Corps had given permission. So the Corps has.
We've got all the permitting with Corps, and that's why we wanted to get moving on it this fall. We got the permission or the permits from the Corps to do what we want to, and we wanted to get moving on it, because if you let it lapse, then you have to go through that whole application phase again, and that could slow down the project by another year and a half. And but we, like I say, we were allocated $37.5 million, and we are in the bidding phase of the marina right now, but the construction work has already started.
One question I have is, I think the reason I wanted to do the history a little bit of STARWARS was because there was so much that didn't get done. Mm-hmm. And people keep asking, is this really going to happen? And from what you're stating, if you're in stage 3, this is really going to happen.
This is going to happen. The money's appropriated, and it was on the advice of a lot of people said, get this project going. Okay. That way it won't, I hate to say it this way, but it won't be low-hanging fruit that could be pulled back at another time. Right. So the bidding process is basically done. Stage 1 and stage 2 are done. This is too far down the line right now to stop this project. And,
that's great.
So I think we're in a great position to finish this project, and I think it will be a great tourist attraction for Northeast Nebraska and bring in revenue over the next 10 years. And our financial plan shows that this is going to be making money every year, and at the 10-year mark it will be all money will be paid off, and year 11 will be profit for the game and parks in the state of Nebraska.
Okay, so next year the Weigand Marina will be totally closed, right? I mean, you can still go to the park area.
I'm guessing. Right? I'm guessing because they will want to be moving, and I don't know how they have that phased out. they're going to do boat slips and docks and maybe get that part up and going a little bit before they get to marina. But yeah, it's going to be kind of a tedious process to get in and out of Weigand for the next couple summers, I would guess. But I'm going to let the Game and Parks express their plans for that as they go forward.
So my understanding is there's going to be like these satellite areas, like the Bloomfield area, the South Shore area, Miller's Creek, that are going to be more parking available so people can put their boats in and out. And how is that going to work? I mean, has that already begun to happen?
And I don't know how the Game and Parks is, and to what extent they're going to extend those parking and ramps. My association and my concern and my will is to, number one, we want to cut. We're, like I say, allocated $37.5 million. I want to get the marina built. I want to get the boat slips in. I want to get the machinery to be able to navigate, taking sailboats in and out of the dock in the fall and putting in the spring. And hopefully there's money left over that we can apply to different areas. And part of that project will still go to the Niobrara State Park. Niobrara State Park was still part of the STARWARS project. So Niobrara State Park, they're going to revamp the boat docks up at Lazy River Acres. And they're going to do some work inside the park, and hopefully we have money available in the next biennium to do a new visitor center down toward the entrance of the Niobrara State Park rather than up into the middle of the park.
So that's still a possibility.
That's in my mind, it's more than a possibility.
Oh, it's more than, okay.
So I think it's just a matter of the timeline. Part of it is going to be implemented right now, like I said, with the revamping of the boat docks and expanding that up at Lazy River Acres, and some of the work done in the park as far as expanding and lining the fishing pond and stuff like that. That's a done deal. That's going to happen. The visitor center I'm hopeful that will be obligated funds going toward that in the next 2-year biennium to have that project completed as well. So
that's great. So will any of the dredging start this fall, or will we wait until after, like in the spring?
And we will probably, that would be a better question for the Game and Parks. What we're going to do with the dredging, and originally this was a $55 million project, and we cut it back somewhat. We cut back from 500 and some boat slips down to approximately 350, or between 300 and 350 boat slips. So there were some cost savings there, but wave wall or whatever, and the dredging that's going to take place, we are only going to go as far as we need to right now with the dredging. The original plan was to dredge out farther and build out farther, and now we're doing what we need to protect the docks and stuff with the wave wall, and dredge where we need to now, with the idea that if we need to expand in the future and have the ability to expand in the future, we can do that additional dredging and that additional wave wall at that time, and we'll see how things play out.
Well, what we're looking at here is a map, and I had to search for this map. It's on the United States Corps of Engineers website under Appendix A, but I'll have that linked in my article, so you can go there and look at it. But there's going to be like ADA slips, meaning if you Americans for Disability Act slips.
They're going to try to accommodate as many different types of motors as possible, from sailboats to ski boats to day users that only want the docks for the day use or weekend use, and then disability docks. So they're, Game and Parks is very cognizant of that and are working to be in a position to offer services to each one of those type of boaters.
So one thing I did was I just added up the slips. If you look at the map on the left-hand side, and the total slips comes to like 342. So that's higher than, you know, what I had previously thought was going to happen with, you know, taking that money back.
Right.
But you know, it looks, oh, and the restaurant's not there either. If you look on the Confluence website, it's a little confusing because they still have images of a restaurant with outside seating and stuff.
I'm thinking that there's still going to be some kind of permanent food vendors there. Right?
There will.
That's what my understanding is. I could be wrong, and I would have to visit with the Game and Park.
Well, that'd be great news, yeah.
Most of it was going, you know, like I say, a lot of them from the 55 million, it was taking it down from 500 and some boat slips to basically 300 or right around that. So we're doing some of that work. The restaurant might not be, it might be more as a cafe rather than a high-end steakhouse type restaurant, but I'm still under the understanding that there will be a permanent food vendor there. So,
and then I understand they are upgrading the offices and the marina store itself. Yeah. So I think that's great. One more question about the dredging before we continue on. Okay, so the dredging, what they take out, they're going to go to the Bloomfield area and put it there. Has there been any bids that have been accepted for doing that work?
I'm sure if the dredging is taking place, I'm sure those bids have already been let, and the bidding process has been accepted. And that would be more of a question probably for the Game and Parks than myself.
So if I have a slip in the marina right now, in Weigand Marina, I think it's like 122 slips. If I have a slip there now, am I locked into getting one of these slips? Or is that going to be a totally new process? And the second question, before you answer that, is if I don't have a marina slip, is there like a lottery or is there like a list?
I don't know how that's going to play out. I would assume, and I hate to assume things, but I would think that if you have an existing slip there, that you're going to be grandfathered into first chance, and then they will probably see what the interest is as far as like the 40, you know, obviously each different sizes of slips, different types of slips are the rent's going to be different on them, so there might be a process to see how much interest there are in the 40-foot slips, which would accommodate the sailboats and things like that. And I don't know how they will do that, if it's a lottery system or it would almost have to be, because you can't, I don't think you can pick and choose who you let in and let out. But,
right.
But as far as existing slips, I would think that you'd be grandfathered in.
So before we started, we were talking about fiber optics coming to specifically the Nebraska side of the lake.
Right.
And a lot of that is being done. And, you know, you were totally aware of that. I just wanted to bring that up. I mean, it makes the lake an area where you could live full time, you know, with high-speed internet.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of things happening. There's a new fire department.
There's a lot of things happening. It's going to, Nebraska side of the lake is still going to be fairly rustic as far as eye appeal, but I feel all the amenities are going to be there. There are people that are building there now because of the high-speed internet that are now coming from South Dakota that are now permanent Nebraska residents that work from home and have that high-speed internet available to them to be able to live in Nebraska. And obviously that's a revenue stream as far as property tax, income tax, and things like that. That's going to help the state of Nebraska's revenue stream. So yeah, as far as making it real commercialized out there, I don't think that's anybody's plan. It's just to let people have their homes, have their lake, but still be able to have a privacy matter that will be good for everybody out there. And high-speed internet is obviously part of that.
And can you comment on where the water is going to come from for the next several years, or just update us on that?
I worked with Lewis and Clark Natural Resources.
But mostly rural. Is it mostly rural water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's Lewis and Clark Natural Resources, and are putting in a new and Cedar Knox Rural Water, the combined board. They're putting in a new water project for Cedar Knox Rural Water. They've entered into a long-term contract with the City of Yankton. City of Yankton has wells that they are going to be supplying water to Cedar Knox Rural Water. It'll be groundwater rather than surface water. So water treatment plant won't be as intensive as it would if it was surface water, like right out of the river or off the lake. So they've entered into a long-term contract with them, and work has begun on that project. They've got about 3 miles of line left to put in before they start the interaction with the state of South Dakota or City of Yankton to get that water to the Nebraska side.
So pipe has been laid, and when do you see this coming to fruition?
Well, the best of my knowledge and most recent information I've been given, they were hoping to have this project completed in 2026, but it looks like it might be the first part, maybe the summer of 2027 when this project is done.
Okay.
So.
And now I want to get off the topic a little bit and ask you about this. This is your 4th year going into your tenure as a senator, right?
Right.
This is your first term.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you: Are you going to run for re-election, or have you decided to?
I filed back in July to run again. So yeah, I'm in it for the long run. I feel good about where we are at with our legislature. There's a lot of things that I would still like to do, and there's a lot of things I'd like to be able to do for the state that I think will be very advantageous to the state. And we have a good group of senators to work with. We have our arguments, but we have a core group of senators that are willing to engage and work to do what's best for the state of Nebraska, and I plan on continuing working with them. So.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this interview, and down the road, next spring or summer, if we could get together again and update the people, because it really does get the information out, and new information that I know has not been out in any other paper or video or anything like that. So I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I look forward to working with you down the road.
Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to another interview. Thank you.
All right, thanks.